Welcome to Exit Frag Valorant. I'm Zeph. I'm joined by Esports Andy, Jcon, and Kai from That Nerd Kaizen. So we'll start off. We'll do Evil Geniuses versus Loud. Any first impressions?
I was right. Say, I gave Loud the credit. I think I was the only one who had Loud winning this game. So I just want to give myself a pat on the back, you know, even though I wasn't the biggest believer, but now I am. I'm a believer in Loud. I'm a believer in Loud. Almost.
It's crazy because like I think you were the only one that did, and I was like the most vocal supporter of Loud, right. And I still didn't have them winning this one.
I mean, I don't blame you. You can't go against Ye, and he showed up in this game too. It's hard. It's hard to go against Ye and Potter, the dream team.
But yeah, like Loud just looked really good. Vinny showed up. He proved, or like, I feel like all of our biggest worry was like, oh, is Vinny going to be a good IGL? Is he going to get frags? How does he fit into the team? He fit into the team. Like, we saw that. EG kind of had some weird comps I didn't really like, but we'll talk about that one later.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep the focus here on Loud because I want to talk their victory, and I mainly want to make a point of DG Zine should have never been outside of tier 1.
Facts.
And
100%.
You saw it as soon as they started playing. As soon as the op got in his hand, it was just over. Like he had the angles, he was cutting up sights. It was absolutely insane. If you don't know, last season there was a bit of drama of like why Furia wasn't re-signing DG Zine, and it had something to do with like Carlao and the coaching staff and some of the players labeling DG Zine as being toxic. Now, there isn't any like sort of confirmation of what exactly happened outside of there was some drama amongst the players and the coaching staff, but I find it ridiculous that even happened and that it spread outside of of that org into other orgs, and it's kind of like blocked him from getting signed. Because think about it this way: imagine if DG Zine was on Loud last season.
Yeah,
like I said, like it would have been a totally different team.
Yeah,
100%. He might have won Masters in Madrid.
I don't even know if they would bring back Pancada if they had DG Zine last year.
True.
My whole thing with like when people like label a player like toxic, or like just with one team labeling this player toxic, DGC has played on like multiple teams and never had like, as far as I know, never had any problems. So that's why I'm like, I always take those things with like a grain of salt now. With like when someone says this player's toxic, it's like, oh well, you guys you were toxic to them and they were, just bad relationship. And I think we're seeing like he looked really comfortable with his team with Loud. I'm really excited with Loud. I think they might be really the best Brazilian team.
Yeah,
if
big
MIBR
facts.
continues.
And it's like whenever someone calls another player toxic, sometimes you have to like take a step back and ask yourself, is this team even good to begin with? Like,
right?
Like, because at the end of the day,
was not.
Yeah, if you're always losing, then it becomes a toxic environment anyways.
Yeah, the whole saying is like winning cures everything, and if you're not winning, of course it's not good moods and whatnot. So it's like, if you're comfortable with being a loser, then it's like you are a loser. It's like, kind of thing. Is like winners hate losing, and I guess that's just what happened with DZine and other players on Furia. Of course, something similar happened with Heat too. Like Heat was considered like a toxic player as well. But then again, you got to ask, like, if your team environment isn't good, of course you're going to be upset and whatnot. There's ways to lose and there's ways to like not lose. You could be a sore loser and whatnot, but it's just like, if you're just losing throughout a whole year, of course you're not going to be feeling great. So it's kind of understandable how some players feel don't handle that in the best way. Like I can only imagine how hard it was. Like I know this is esports, but I like watching basketball. When the Lakers were losing, Kobe Bryant was probably the most worst player to be around, kind of thing. But it's just like it's just that mentality. Some people respond to losing differently.
Yeah, and some people are just uber competitive. And like speaking of Heat, I think like his showings on Crew last year really proved that like, no, he is able to fit into a team environment well. He is able to like click with them. And like speaking of clicking, I think that's one of the really big things for Loud of this roster that I really enjoyed seeing, is that you can tell that the vibes are really, really good. Like you see DG Zing getting hyped, you see Kawan getting hyped, and especially you see Pancada getting hyped.
Yeah.
And that man usually does not get that hyped. And the fact that like he's getting hyped, it really shows that the environment that this roster has fostered is really beneficial for one another. So I'm actually super excited to continue to watch this team play, because not only is there in-game like combinations and I don't want to say syncing together, but like working together, especially like their util overlays has been really good. But you can just see that they're vibing. Like when they're losing rounds, you don't have people like hanging their heads. They're always like bouncing each other up and down. And I think like speaking of DG Zin, I think that's one of really big underrated aspect of him is that he has that like large emotion. And I know some people don't play well with like players who wear their emotions on their sleeves, but man, sometimes like that is what you need for a team. And I think about like Energy last year, where it was kind of missing that like fiery emotion type, right? And like I think every team kind of needs that a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's like kind of what got them through because both maps were pretty close. Like
yep,
went to overtime on split, pulled it out in the first, and then on Pearl they were down. What was it? Or they were tied 10-10, and then they just like ran away with the game.
Yeah,
they did some retakes, finished the game out, because I think this team's like a solid team, and I think we saw like a middle of the pack match still though, because like EG was also had their issues, and I think if they had their game plan was just look funky. I wasn't as sold with what Potter put out for this match. I felt like it could have been like a lot more, maybe like closer to meta. I don't know.
Yeah,
they definitely cooked a lot for this. Yeah, for sure.
I think they need to continue to cook, because the Pearl comp was not it.
I feel like EG is just a little bit ahead in the future, because I like the Vice pickup. I really do feel like Vice, we're going to see more Vice, because Tejo's a hard counter for KJ. I'd be surprised if KJ's pick rate is over like 30% at champs. Barring if Riot doesn't nerf Tejo, of course, you know.
Yeah.
Like current Tejo, Vice is going to increase, KJ is going to decrease. Maybe you could get away with a little bit of Cypher, but I think Vice is like the best Sentinel against Tejo and Chamber as well.
MIBR versus 100 Thieves. I was very surprised. I really thought MIBR was going to at least put up a fight. And 100 Thieves impressed the hell out of me, because I said in my own video that their ceiling didn't look quite as high as any of the previous rosters they had, but that their floor was yet to be determined, or that it was like pretty much the same as last year. And I don't know how, but the addition of Zander has completely elevated this team. They look pretty clean. I think a lot better than we saw them in the last America split.
There we go. I think everything is everyone good?
We're good.
Good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say Artesian, like, or Artesia, like he went 0-5. Everyone was like super hyped up on him over the offseason because of his like headshot percentage was
Cortesia.
insane.
Cortesia.
Yeah, he just didn't look that good, like rookie work, like woes or something. But yeah, 100 Thieves just look more experienced, and MIBR just wasn't. Like they had too many.
Totally agree. I got egg on my face too. Everyone was like, after that trust and plug match, everyone was like, yeah, we're selling our 100 Thieves stocks. And then 100 Thieves was like, hold my beer and whatnot, and then reminded us how they were able to qualify for Master Shanghai originally. Because at the end of the day, all they did was trade in Zander for Bang, and I don't think it's that big of a difference. I feel like this match was more of a testament to like how MIBR still has more things to work on than 100 Thieves. But I did enjoy watching 100 Thieves play in this match and in their Sentinels match, mainly because they were using combo utilities. I'm a sucker for combo utilities, and I hope 100 Thieves keep pushing and has a long tournament, even though their next match is against NRG, which imagine an elimination match against like with NRG and 100 Thieves, 2 Clout orgs. That's crazy. But hey, that's kickoffs. Yeah, that's kickoffs.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I do want to throw Cortesia a little bit of bail though on that Lotus map. He was playing Retake Simulator for like 9 rounds in a row.
Yeah.
He was literally just like they completely avoided him. So it definitely is rough. Rookie first map, first match of the year. But I do want to throw him a little bit out there.
NRG versus Cloud9.
I hate how Cloud9 made me a believer. They I just hate it because I was watching this game. I was like slowly turning over. I was like, damn it. Why am I liking the fact that Cloud9's winning? Why am I liking the fact that Xeppaa is top fragging? Like I'm happy for Xeppaa actually, because so many people like I get it. He's been on Cloud9 for a long time. People want him gone, but he's still a tier 1. He still has tier 1 skill and whatnot. So I'm glad that Xeppaa was able to showcase his talents. But yeah, I don't even know where to go. Is this just like FNS teams just struggling in the beginning of the year or beginning of a tournament, or is it just like Cloud9 doing Cloud9 things, giving people false hope? I'm not entirely sure, but my takeaway is that Xeppaa deserves to be in tier 1. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but it feels like it from the community sentiments and whatnot.
He went off like because you'd have to kind of look back through all of his things, but this is like probably one of his best matches ever. Like he just kind of went off, got kills, got multi kills, and then shut down Unk pretty much. Like FNS was just old man.
Yeah, everyone's calling FNS Joe Biden, bro.
Yeah, because he just had that whiff on who was it?
Zeppa. It was against Zeppa. Zeppa just had aura. It was just Zeppa's aura that game.
He shot Ethan's ult.
Yeah.
Because Xeppaa kept pushing with like the Clove ult. Like he kept using it like so well. It was like it was a really fun game. Like that map was like really fun. Like I'm so glad Fracture's back.
I think there was that
Fracture back is so nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I think FNS also shot at his teammate thinking it was his like
the Omenal. What's so funny is because they picked Vic like early into the map, and then Ethan teleported over to join him, and then he shot at him. I was like,
what can we say? Even when he's losing, he's the gift that keeps on giving. FNS.
It truly is FNS's last year, and it's beyond apparent.
For sure.
I was pretty frustrated. Like I don't put a lot of stock. I don't put a lot of emotion to other teams. When I watch NRG do the dumb shit that they were doing during this map, it's just insane. I had a headache at the end of the match. Won't go too much into it. I'll talk about it in our next video. So make sure to subscribe to see me disappointed some more. So C9. I'll say, yeah, Xeppaa absolutely proved me wrong. Yeah, I'm just cursed every time I shit talk someone in a haters guide. Like they are like fucking LeBron James the next series they play. So
he took it personal. What you said, personal.
I don't know if Xeppaa watches my haters guides. I mean, shout out if he does. But yeah.
I do want to shout out Mitch though for this match. I thought Mitch's calling was really good. Specifically against NRG. I thought he made a lot of good reads on attack. I also thought like some of his defensive protocols, especially when they're running the Tejo as well, as a combo, worked out pretty well. But I still think there's a lot of room for teams to work on Breach Tejo because I think a lot of teams are playing it wrong.
I'm not sold on net still, like on C9 right now. Because I'm a C9 fan as much as I hate it. And that's why I was like, I'm so mad that they actually won this game because that gave them they made him too confident.
Like maybe, yeah, that could be it.
Now I don't know. I'm surprised that Cloud9 won. Even while watching the game, I thought, NRG's gonna come back. They're gonna come back, and it just they had that big run at the end of Lotus, and it was done.
Yeah, I feel like this kickoffs has just been a testament to like anyone can win Americas. It's so damn stacked, bro. Yeah. It's like I'd be surprised if anyone's pick'ems are like solid, bro. Like I'd be surprised if anyone has 100% with pick'ems. Mine is in the gutters.
No, mine was awful.
Mine's wasted.
Yeah,
it's the GTA wasted screen. It's gone though.
Exactly.
2-game esports versus Furia. Now, this game specifically had some like last minute wonkiness. I remember like finishing recording Exit Frag. I went on Twitter and they were like, hey, guys, by the way, we got to roster a super sub team because our visa guys, they're not getting here on time. And I was like, okay, sure. I didn't watch too much of this match because they were just running away with it at like certain points. It was tough watch for sure.
Yeah, I think the big thing that I got from this game was 2G is definitely really missing the firepower from the two youngsters that carried them through Ascension, and you can kind of really notice that. I think them bringing in Gobera, even though he's one of their subs, I think he played incredibly well. I think if anybody can shoot, that guy can shoot. However, on the Vise, I felt like it wasn't Vise being good. It was just Gobera being able to click heads like a mofo.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of limited a little bit of what they wanted to do. Also, I was not a fan of the Breach Tejo. Again, I feel like they were not playing it correctly. But the Super Furious subs, I think it's wonderful for them to get an opportunity. I've been backing these guys for a really long time, so I'm happy to see them get a chance to show off. Penny went off. I think reminding everybody that Eric Penny is him. He definitely did that. So shout out to the super subs. I think it was great.
Yeah, we definitely got to shout out tier 2. I guess I got to just watch more tier 2. I haven't been watching a lot of tier 2 ever, like just mainly like the end of Ascension, but that's going to be like my New Year's resolution is to watch more tier 2 Valorant, at least NA tier 2 and whatnot. And it's kind of interesting, like once 2G gets their like their youngsters back or one of them back, do they just keep Gobera? I feel like you low-key, like after that one performance, do you guys think they should keep Gobera?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, I think he's able to show like flexibility if he continues to play more agents. But he is a duelist main.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the whole like duelist to controller / sentinel pipeline is becoming stronger and stronger every season and whatnot. And like, yeah, I like the point that you made about the whole like Breach Tejo. I feel like that's just overkill. I don't think you need Breach and Tejo on the same team. I feel like you're just playing bully Valorant and whatnot. I feel like they do similar things in general when it comes to pushing people off and whatnot. But yeah, I like the fact that Furia, even though it was crazy, Furia brought in NA talent from tier 2. Now people are going to be saying we want NA Furia, not South American Furia now. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And they can do it according to the rules.
They
could
can?
do it.
Oh.
Because they have them signed as like a sub roster, and they changed the rules on how sub rosters work this year.
Oh,
which is
so
why
like
you
an
have teams
academy
with subs
team
and like academy
thing,
teams.
Right? Oh, okay. That's cool.
All right. Crew versus Loud. I thought this was going to be way more competitive. It was not.
Yeah.
I mean, my analogy of like you put an op in DGZ's hands and he's just destroying everyone, it came from this game. I mean, he was slicing, he was dicing. I was very impressed. I mean, I don't know what to say else about Loud other than like they exceeded every expectation that I had.
Yeah, he got 11 op kills on just
he has 14 in the entire series.
Yeah, he was insane. People really were underrating that there's like 3 really good players on this team, and like 2 East is really good. Vinny continues to do good and gets to like kind of play back a little. And then Crew just wasn't Crew. But also Crew hasn't really been Crew for like a little bit. Like
that's true.
This team, I don't know, is like perfect. Adverso's like solid, but I just didn't think that addition was the right one to like push them over the edge of what they were last year.
Yeah, I guess they're missing heat big time. They should have just kept them or something. I don't know. It's just so weird about Crews. Like they find a formula and they always shoot themselves in the foot. Like that's what they were doing. They were doing like roster shenanigans last semester. I mean, not last semester. Damn, last season. And like they had a formula. They went away from it because like one of their players was injured. He was healed. They brought him in, and I think they kicked he or Mesler. They were doing something with their IGL.
They kicked Mesler.
Yeah. And then they brought him back and then they made champs. I was like, come on, Crew. You guys have the formula. Like, he helped big time.
I don't know if it was financials or what it was, but
maybe.
The fact that they didn't keep Heat was a surprise to me because he was like half of the reason why Crew made champions.
It was the second, but he's the second guy for Keznit, and Keznit's been looking for a second guy for years. Like, it's always been Keznit and friends.
Loud is just getting better and better. They have momentum. They have momentum on their side. So that Loud versus Sentinels game is going to be really exciting to see because they both have duelists who can frag out. 2Es is great. Pancada is great too. So it's gonna be a banger.
Sentinels versus 100 Thieves.
Don't call it a rivalry.
Yes.
A rivalry.
Shoot.
But I think for me, this was the match that I was like, oh yeah, 100
100
Thieves.
At this point.
Like-
What can we say? It doesn't matter if Tens is on this team. It doesn't matter if it's freaking my grandma playing on the sticks. Sentinel is always going to beat 100 Thieves, bro. But it's like it was truly a chess match game. I like it because Bang knows 100 Thieves formula, so you could tell that even though 100 Thieves was running the same comp, the way they ran it was completely different. So I gotta applaud them for that, thinking outside the box. But it's just JohnQT and Kaplan, bro. They're a dream team when it comes to like chess games, bro. After that timeout, Sentinels look like a completely different team, and they just ran away with it. And I like the fact that JohnQT is like just permanently on Tejo. I feel like Tejo is low-key a blessing for Sentinels because they look like a completely different team now versus how they were in the offseason.
Yeah, not having to play Sova. I think they losing one of the best Sova players in the world and not being able to replace it, but now they have Tejo.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so nice for them.
Tejo's literally just point and click simulator, bro. Easiest thing in the world to pick up.
Well, I think it like saved this like comp because then like Narrate got to play as agents.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing with it. The off season, that's why I discounted it because I was like, there's no way they don't put him back on. Like I know he says he can play whatever he's awesome, he can do whatever, but like he looks good on Fade, Gecko, and Breach, and I think we got to see that he got a lot of first kills as just an initiator. It just kind of Tejo like kind of saved this team, I think, like a little bit. I think they would have looked a little bit worse and would have lost.
Also, John Tejo's got to be one of the best ones that we've seen so far.
Yeah,
I remember coming into map 2 and I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about just like running the Tejo with the Gecko instead of the Fade because I feel like Fade is just so much stronger. And boy, did John shut me up real good, real quick. I was like, all right, Mr. JohnQT, I apologize. The Tejo is really good. Might be. That's on me.
Yeah. I thought that Narrate and Bang, they just looked phenomenal here. Like the replacements for Saucy and Tens, like it was like they hadn't like missed a beat. It's like we went from the champions form, and then we were still in champions form when we got here. And I want to commend, no pun intended, these guys for making a comeback because that first map it looked dire. It didn't look like there was a comeback possible. But then the next map was very close, and then the one after Sentinels was just able to win in good fashion. So I really enjoyed seeing that. I think people are gonna say like, oh, 100 Thieves lost. It's probably not that competitive, but no, these teams they knew each other very well. And everyone's despite the record, I still think that this is like a rivalry.
I mean, yeah, they're both clouded teams. It's not like whenever they play, one team like completely dumps the other. It's usually close matches. It's just that Sentinels always have that like it factor to just push them over the head. It's just like 100 Thieves is just missing one key piece or something.
They had the double agent too. I mean, I'm sure Bang gave Kaplan as much.
The double agent.
And also, my thing with like the Sentinels 100 Thieves rivalry is like the times where I just feel like the times where they went on those streaks were like when 100 Thieves wasn't that good. Like it wasn't that equal at times, and it was still close every time. Like because 100 Thieves is very streaky. They've always been streaky with Asuna, but with like Sentinels is pretty consistent always. They're like pretty solid. They put together a good team other than in 2022 when they didn't really play each other.
I mean, at this point, what can 100 Thieves do? Like they have a solid team. It's just like like who do you replace on 100 Thieves?
A good team.
You just can't. Like the whole team is good.
It's a good team, and we saw it. Yeah, we saw it. Like I wasn't convinced on the MIBR game, but I am fully convinced with like this game. I'm like 100 Thieves is a team that we got to watch out for making some Masters events. Like they could be in that conversation a lot.
I definitely think so. I think as soon as like Zander gets more integrated with the team, like he like mechanically he's like really good. I mean, you saw him pro when he was in that 1v3 clutch, just like the micro step jiggle. That is the bread and butter of Zander. So I think like when he gets more integrated and more comfortable, and you'll see a lot more of like the overlays. I think playing Astra for a team where you're not like fully in yet is very difficult. It's a very difficult ask. Just because of how much like, oh, I need to understand the comms, I need to understand timings, I also need to understand how my teammates play those timings too. And that makes it very difficult as the only new player into the system.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, that's true. Maybe all they need is time, and maybe Boostio doesn't need to be playing KJ anymore, especially when he's going against the freaking Tejo god himself and JohnQT.
It might be perfect if they get bounced out by NRG, if they're not going to make it to like Bangkok.
Yeah, they have like 2 months to
good to
practice
have
the
all
new
that time.
maps too, like the new map rotations.
It might be good for them.
Yeah,
and they can also integrate Tejo more into their system as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna reverse the order here. Leviatan versus Furia.
I mean, they were who we thought they were. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Demon 1 is great, is decent on Jet, is pretty good on Jet, and he's not so hot on Raze. I don't want to see him on Raze. You have a lot of choices for people on Leviatan who can play Raze besides Demon 1. You got Tex, Natank.
Well, yeah.
Shoot, I might even take Kingg on Raze over Demon 1.
That was my argument, yeah.
So that's my thing. But besides that, they were who we thought they were coming into this. Everyone had a good feeling that Leviatan was going to be better than Furia, and then maybe it's jet lag. I don't know. Furia kind of like underperformed here, but yeah, it is what it is.
It did land only a day before.
Yeah.
It was just a boring game. It was slow, and everyone just was walking around. Like, we'll talk about this later. So, like, if you're watching this, subscribe, because we're going to be talking about this in a later video, more in depth. But like, Demon 1 just kind of looked funky. He's still trying to figure it out, and I think Lev's trying to figure it out still. And luckily, they had Furia, who's also like Furia right now. Like, it just wasn't looking good. Havoc was having issues. MW Zera like missed shots.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't like a good, and that's why like I'm still a little bit hesitant on Lev.
See them play a good team, like a legit team that doesn't have jet lag as an excuse or something.
Yeah, like I wish we actually got to see the super sub team.
Yeah,
I kind of was hoping for the super sub team against Lev today, and that was my hope.
That would have been an interesting one.
If anything, I feel like after this game, we just need Demon 1 on different agents at this point. Like, have him on controller or freaking chamber or ISO. I'm gonna keep saying it, bro. Just put him on ISO or chamber. That's what he's good at. Just point and click. We don't need him on these movement duelists, bro.
Well, and one of my big things that I think makes Lev like really powerful and is super underrated is Natank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was the best player on Gentle Mates last year. I think he's the best. Well, is he the only French player playing right now?
He might be.
He's one of them. They still have French players in Gentle Mate.
Oh, okay.
But I would say in Americas, yeah, he's like the only Frenchman.
Yeah. But he's so flexible. He can play any agent. I like he did it in tier 2. He did it with Gentle Mates a decent amount. I think Lev has a lot of flexibility with this team. I think they could do a lot. Yeah, it's just not yet.
That was my main thing, like question marks about this team was who plays what role, and I think that did not get answered after watching this, because I still think, like, as you point out, like that Tank is so good on like these flex agents, but like real ones know the Tank Phoenix, that boy different.
Yeah. Gentle Mates were crazy with Phoenix. And I feel like that's one of the
Phoenix carried them through Ascension, man.
I like the fact that you mentioned the whole flexibility, because I feel like that's a key for like making deep runs in playoffs. It's just like how flexible your players are and whatnot.
Well, also with the comp changes and everything, they should be fine. Like I don't see them like wavering with like things changing throughout the season. Like they should be about the same and slowly ramp up. But we'll see, I guess.
And Calm also popped off too. Calm on Sova. It's good to see him
always
on
gets a kill.
King still proves that he's one of the best shooters in the world.
Yeah, facts.
It's a fun game. It's slow though, and kind of boring, but fun.
Yeah, that was one of the weird things about Leviatan last year. You brought in Calm, but they barely ever played Sova with him. And then he proves it again. Be like, yeah, guys, remember, Calm he won a championship as Sova and whatnot.
Kind of interesting that you point that out. Yeah, a lot of their map pool last year was very away from Sova maps, which is kind of crazy. But I don't know. Fracture's back.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
All right. Last match of the day. G2 versus Cloud9.
Leaf is in.
So
Yeah.
True. There's
and
a
we'll
lot of
go
like
deeper.
individual moments for G2.
Yeah.
But that is what we expected from this team. Another thing that I want to say is this team is exactly what everyone predicted it to be. I mean, what we saw in the offseason is not what we saw here. I don't know if they were like purposely throwing stuff in the offseason, but they looked incredibly disciplined. My biggest worry, which was, Jajamo not fitting into the style of G2. Nope, that was not an issue at all. It's like a glove,
Yeah,
like a perfect
fit.
glove in the hand.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Never did I feel like Cloud9 had like a moment to come back. Like, yeah, they had a couple rounds here and there, but a lot of them revolved around like luck or
Oxy
them
being
just
a little
like
streaky.
getting
on the
getting a
at
little
least.
streaky. But G2 were always able to ground the game back down. They were always able to just close the game out. And even the calling, like Valen was calling circles around Mitch, like it was not even close. They were both running Tejos, so it's like
he's here.
It's like G2 somehow magically got like 3 extra months of working with Tejo, and then it's like all of a sudden like Cloud9 has to come in with like a month of prep time.
Yeah, Xeppaa's Tejo didn't look too bad either. My biggest like thing I was shocked by is like Jagamo on Yoru. He literally can play any duelist character now, right?
Yeah.
Even though I do prefer him on characters like Raze more. But yeah, Yoru's cool. I've been seeing a lot of teams play Yoru. I'm not the biggest believer. Maybe it's just I've been scarred so much in the past by like Paper X playing Yoru, and I'm just like, I don't want to see Yoru again. But yeah, Jagamo looks good. G2 is who we thought they were, especially on Abyss. Their utility usage was insane. The way they were just blinding C9 players, bro. It's
perfect.
I feel like they're the perfect testament that you learn more from losing than you do from winning. Like losing in the offseason, you could tell they took that to heart and they were like, yeah, boys, it's not going to be easy. They put in the time and we saw the fruits of their efforts against Cloud9. Like Cloud9 team that was able to like surprise people earlier in this kickoffs tournament against NRG, who a lot of people thought were going to win the whole thing.
Yeah, Jajamo, he went, what was it, 11 and 14 in first kills and first deaths just on Yoru.
11
like,
and 4.
Yeah, that's what G2 needed. Like just a purely like an entry player that can take the first duel, and he didn't even need to like win it all, but he wins it every time. Like he's just so good. Like these comps were really good. Like they went 17 and 7 on the defensive side on their defensive rounds against like C9. So like that, I just thought the G2 team was as impressive as I thought they would be. I thought this team was going to be impressive. They were, and C9 is just C9.
Yeah, I fully expect G2 to be world beaters, and I think they really proved it. To be the really standout after watching a whole weekend of Tejo is that they have the best Tejo breach combos, and I think they played it as close to how I expect teams should be playing it with like the util overlay. Like one of my biggest gripes looking at a lot of teams was like they put the Tejo on like C for like Lotus, and then they put the breach on A. I'm like, they're supposed to play together.
Yeah.
And like most teams were not playing them together, but G2 had them together. They had them overlays. Like Jonah just set up so much stuff. So I think it looked really, really clean, and by far the best Tejo breach that I saw so far.
Yeah. Earlier I was kind of like a doubter between Tejo and breach, but now that you make it, now that we saw G2, I totally forgot. Those two together is basically the floor is lava. Yeah. Where can you go? They
post
work.
plan is impossible to like get.